Hi, this is Valerie Adams, and you're watching Inside Athletics with Atta Bolden.
My guest this evening has been World, Commonwealth, and Olympic champion Valerie Adams. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We're about 5 weeks out from the World Championships. How ready are you?
As ready as I can be at this stage. Obviously, World Champs is pretty big for us and making sure that we peak at the right time, but so far so good.
I was very, very excited to realize that your brother had been drafted number 12 overall in the recent NBA draft. I know you have a lot of brothers and sisters, but clearly he's right behind you on the whole athletics thing now.
Yeah, he is. I'm pretty proud of him. At 19 years of age, he's been able to get drafted at first pick and be with the Oklahoma Thunder people. Yep. So, you know, they've obviously got another 5 million supporters behind them and fans all the way from New Zealand, but very, very proud. He's done really well. Obviously a very quick transition from playing 1 year in Pittsburgh and then, you know, going straight into the NBA life. So I just wish him the best of luck and, you know, hopefully he continues to work hard and be the best he could be.
Now, you were second last year at the Olympic Games until a subsequent drug bust gave you the gold medal. And I was paying very keen attention to see what your reaction to it was. Tell me about how you learned that you had been elevated to the gold and then what happened after leading up to the ceremony with you in New Zealand.
I actually felt it was a Monday morning. Well,
you didn't believe it at first, did you?
No, I didn't. I was actually driving to my coach's house to go pick up a pair of shoes to, you know, continue training for the next day in my league meetings. And I really didn't think anything of it. You know, I was obviously quite depressed, stressed, very unhappy, you know, felt like a failure because, you know, everything was just came crumbling down really.
Silver was that bad for you?
Yeah, it was terrible, you know, with not being put on the list first of all to getting silver because I felt like I'd failed the country. I felt like I let the country down, and I think that was the biggest feeling that I had. And then the chef de mission called me on my way to coach's house, and I had to pull the car over, and he was like, no, you've rang you to let you know that Osachuk has been done for drugs and that you've won gold medal.
Any tears?
Big time. I had to pull over and I basically sat there and cried for 10 minutes before I continued. Yeah, it was so overwhelming that when I went to my coach's house, I just started like an unbearable shake that, you know, then I told him and he was in tears and we just had this moment of celebration but disappointment as well, and a moment that we should have had it in London but we didn't, and we had it in Switzerland. So it was quite emotional, and you know, that particular day I trained like one trooper, you know, and I trained like nothing before, and then, you know, obviously after that there was so many media who turned up and everything just kept going, and it was a big roller coaster ride really, and unfortunately in Zurich everything just hit me and all the stresses hit me, and before the Diamond League in the finals in Zurich, I, you know, fainted 3 times. My friend Cleo was there and she, you know, helped me out the whole day, but it was very hard to take emotionally and physically really.
Now, you're one of the most dominant athletes in any event, but do you feel a certain added pressure when you go into a championship, being that for the most part your results are going to dictate what New Zealand's results are on the medal table?
Pretty much. I mean, I come from a very small country and athletics is a very minor sport in our country, and a lot of people, especially within the media, pay attention to what I do and obviously my results, because as you say, it does dictate how we end up in the medal tally. But I like to, you know, work with that pressure, and I like the challenge that comes with it, although sometimes it can get overbearing. And you know, I guess that's what happens when you come from a small country, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's just the way it is. And you know, I've been unbeaten now for 2.5 years. The pressure is greater this year, going to try and win my 4th world title. And you know, I've just got to take it on the chin and roll with it, because as hard as it would be, it's just a challenge I've just got to face, you know, front on and see what happens really. But hey, it's sport, it's life, you just got to deal with it, and it's competition, and this is what makes me more hungry to be the best athlete in the world.
Now, one of your best mates is a countrywoman of mine, Cleopatra Burrell. Tell me about it. It's not too often that you see shot putters
hanging out,
being that close. I mean, you guys are rivals and friends. She's been to your home country. Tell me what that relationship is like.
She's my girl. I love Cleo. First time I met her was in 2006. No, 2002 at the Commonwealth Games.
In Manchester.
Yes. And you know, we've bonded a very, very close friendship. We definitely hang out a lot, and you know, she's one of my best friends on the tour, and I'll do anything for her, and the same as she'll do for me. She's been to New Zealand this year to compete with me, and It's really great to have friends on the tour like that, but you know, Claire's one of a kind. I do love her, and you know, I feel like it's kind of good because we're both in the Commonwealth,
Right.
and you know, we can both represent where we come from, so it's great.
Now, you have a lot of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, my dad was busy. Yeah.
Tell me about what it was like growing up with that many people around you. What does growing up in a family that size teach you about life from an early age?
Well, my mum and dad didn't stay together. Then they married and had my sister and I, and then like my dad had a lot of children, but with many different wives
Right.
and women. So I was brought up with pretty much no father for a little while. Then my mother got married again, and even that was different. You know, I grew up in a very low decile area. You know, very poor. Lived on $40 a week.
Wow.
Sort of type of, you know, lifestyle we had to live. And it's something that, you know, definitely made me grow up real quick. The biggest thing that changed my life was when my mother passed away when I was 15.
Right.
I pretty much had to grow up from then on, and there was no turning back. Learned how to survive and pretty much look after yourself, and I think that's made me who I am today. I'm just I'm a stubborn person, but I'm a very strong person. I could, you know, I don't rely on anybody except for myself to make sure that I'm being the best person that I could be, because that's how my mother brought me up, and I want to do her proud.
Do you feel as though you got into athletics and the shot put because you were like that?
Definitely. She definitely encouraged me to partake in do shot putting and do sports in general. She sacrificed a lot of the family funding to give me money to get on the train and stuff, and it was very unfortunate for me because I watched the opening ceremony of 2000 Olympics the night before she passed away, and I just watched it and I thought, man, I'd really like to be there one day. And then 4 years later, I was at my first Olympics where I finished 8th, and then eight years later, I won the Olympics. So it's something that she's basically installed in me as a Tongan mother and as a person to, you know, live my dreams. And I knew she sacrificed a lot of the family funding, so the only thing I could do was pay her back by trying as hard as I can.
Looking at your record in championships is absolutely amazing and astounding. Let's talk legacy now. The day you decide, okay, I am done with this.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank for me. It's important to me that I am remembered as blank.
It's important to me that I'm remembered as a great shot putter, but the most important thing
Greatest
for me,
ever?
Yeah, sure. But the greatest thing for me is if I've inspired one person to change their lives forever, I've done my job as an athlete and as a person. And I think in New Zealand, I grew up in an area where it was very, very poor. And I go into this area a lot to try and inspire young children because there are so many talents, there's just not enough role models.
Right.
And if I could be a role model for one person in New Zealand, they could say one day, I changed my life because, you know, Valerie could do this, and I changed my life because of her. My job is done and I could die happy.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because for every athlete that talks about, I want to be a role model, I want to be an example, there are many who shy away from it. What is it about your personality where you embrace that and say, you know what, absolutely I want to be a role model?
I am a role model whether I like it or not, so I have to embrace it. You know, I grew up in an area where we always look for bigger and better things, you know, to try and inspire to, so why not? You know, I've come basically from the dirty South, and the biggest thing for me is you can make it. No matter where you come from, no matter how your upbringing was and all the rest of it, you can make it. It's just a matter of choices. It's just a matter of making sure you surround yourself with positive people and making the right choices in life, you know. I could choose at the age of 15, I could be like, bugger this, I'm getting into movies, bugger training. I decided to walk 10 kilometers, to jump on the train,
Wow.
take an hour train ride, to go to training, and then get back again. This was my choice. And look where it's ended me up today, you know, and I have no regrets for that. This is hard work, what I do, and I remind them of that every day, but I definitely wouldn't change it for the world.
People watch you get into that circle and you throw that ball as far as you can.
Yeah.
Can you explain to somebody who's never going to do that, what sort of satisfaction do you get after having lifted all those weights and so on? You get in there, talk about what that feels like to get that ball out of your hand and watch it land, because you have some of the best celebrations of any athlete in the sport. Talk about what that's like when that ball sails away from you and then it lands and you go, oh.
Cleo can give me a good run for them for that money, but
yeah, she's up there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think when you know it's a good throw, you can feel it's a good throw before it lands.
Yes.
But I basically think of nothing when I'm in the circle, just pretty much smashing the crap out of it. You know,
Really?
you've done all the work. Your body's pretty much trained to feel like the glide is second nature and part of your body and who you are. It's just a matter of getting in the right frame of mind, not letting anything distract you, and it's just me, the shot, and the sector. That's it.
You're laser focused.
I'm laser focused. You know, it's easy to get very distracted. 2008 Olympics, I competed. Usain Bolt was running 100 meters. Can you imagine?
A lot of distraction there.
90,000 people,
Yes.
Chinese, and all the rest of it screaming their heads off.
Yes.
I didn't give a damn. I was, doof, Valerie, circle, shot put, let's go.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I was focused on. And I had to be only focused on that. And you have to be mentally strong to do that, you know. But when it leaves your hand, you know it's a good throw before it even leaves your hand.
Yeah.
And that's when the crazy celebrations comes along, you know. It's like jumping for joy. And
Valerie, I enjoy watching you compete. You have been an absolutely fantastic champion in this sport. I applaud your stance against drugs. All the
Thanks.
best in the World Championships and in the future.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
joining
much.
me.
Thank you. Thanks.